Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Unofficial Redsun podcast. I'm Jolly, and as per usual, I am joined by my co host, Sui.
Greetings. Hey. Hey.
Hey, who's that?
Come on, get on with it.
And as our guest for today, we are joined by our server's very own 42.
Yes, hello, it's me.
All right, it is a great pleasure to have you on, an honor even to have you among us.
Yes, among us.
You had to say that one.
Yeah, of course we have to say it.
I said it so you have to post the fucking Among Us on whatever visual you do. Yep, you're the one who called attention to it. We could have moved on, but you called attention to it, Sui. Now the people are waiting, yearning for the Among Us imagery you're going to be putting on the screen. And I hope to you, video watchers, that it is appeasing to your taste. But
It
outside
always
of that,
will be.
oh, what are we saying?
That is always a pleasing to have it.
Yeah. But outside of that, we have had a very busy week on Red Sun. I had actually remember contemplating a while back, I think it was Thursday specifically, if it would be worth doing 2 episodes. But we're efficient. We can cram everything in, as per usual. So for this week, we will be going over both the end of Warp Zone and the birthday. Those two we will put away for a second as we go over some of the smaller events on Red Sun this week. Then we'll sort of move into those. So, of course, to start, on last Wednesday, Wednesday the 13th, on the forums we have had jukebox submissions open up once more. Have you two done your jukebox submissions by chance?
No, I don't give a freaking damn about jukeboxes.
That's fair. Sui?
No.
No?
Whatever I submit is just gonna be cast aside anyway.
Well, I did it anyways, because it's fun. It's fun to look for music.
Man, boring.
Boring, truly. Although I feel like the last couple jukeboxes have been pretty high quality, so I'm not really worried about how it goes. I remember years long past, the jukebox would always end up with like 1 or 2 problem songs that people would whine about constantly. But I really can't say I've felt that the last, 1 or 2 jukeboxes we've had. Besides the people who like point their finger and say Arknights is bad. I saw a bit of that when this newer jukebox cropped up, which is kind of petty and annoying, but you do need a good hater sometimes. We love haters on Red Sun. That's why we have so many of them.
If I'm being honest, the DuckTales Moon theme kinda became that problem song, just for me, in my opinion.
It was less, I feel like it was less the problem song and it was more just a really weird choice.
A really weird choice
I don't
that
think it got
seems to be
to the
picked
problem
a lot
level
more
of,
often.
like, I'm trying to remember some of them. I'm just gonna say the Sonic song, and I'm gonna hope we all understand. Because I don't know the names of any of them. I really have no love in my heart for Sonic.
Well, I mean, it's no Daytona, don't get me wrong. That was a horrible period, but I mean, I guess it just kind of got overplayed.
Yeah, it was. DuckTales really was kind of a goofy track, but it wasn't. Again, was not on the same level as times before, as when we had one real funny thing.
Yeah.
So I think it's good. I think it's been good for the most part. Outside of the jukebox submissions, we also have the March Artifactional, which maybe it's artifictional. Doesn't really matter. The March Artifictional has opened up on March 15th. As per usual, Artifictional is our monthly or so event where Zane will be running a funny, silly game with AI or whatnot. And we will do a little event of sorts based on who wins that tournament and what maps they picked beforehand. And it's a funny thing talking about this again because I remember talking about Artifictional last month, which is a weird statement the way I'm phrasing it, but it's kind of nice to think, we did make it a month. At the very least, we did make it a month. And that's pretty good.
Hey, Mazel tov.
It is pretty special. I still have yet to ever think of a good, selection of free maps I'd ever do for that. I'd probably just do Banana Bay 3 times, to be honest. I'm one of the prophets of Banana Bay, so to speak. I believe you had some strong opinions of Banana Bay.
Me?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I could take it or leave it.
Slander on podcasts. You can give plenty of slander of it.
I don't.
We're getting through it 42.
Yeah, I don't care about any of it. And we all here podcast for the warp zone, mind you.
42 is so real for that. I love this guy. We gotta keep him on. But yeah,
Who cares about my fucking opinions on
Yeah, no one cares about
get
you.
out of here,
Let's
Sui.
get
Leave the
warp
call.
zone.
Leave
Yeah,
the
come
call,
on.
Sui. Get out of here. But yeah, I think that is fair enough, though. And there's no problem with getting into, well, at least part of the main topic, which is, of course, the end of Warp Zone. Warp Zone, as of what I believe, yes, today is Monday the 18th, and Warp Zone had officially ended yesterday on the 17th at around our usual reset time, 8 p.m. Part of the last week was accompanied by the double tickets, of course, given as part of the birthday event for Redsun, which occurred on Thursday. But again, we will get to some birthday stuff, some commemoration, and some rewards later. For now, I would like to talk a little bit more on Warp Zone and, how our experience has gone with that. With, of course, the company of 42 here, who we've brought on to answer a couple questions.
Oh, I have this Word document on all the things I've got to talk about. There's a lot to get into.
Ooh, I remember you saying you prepared some notes. I am excited to see what you have to say about that.
Yeah, I would be thank you to get onto it now. I don't know how long this podcast will last.
But
Should
try
they,
to keep it under 2 hours.
2 hours, maybe even 3. I hope not.
We try and make them short, but they always end up long. We just love the app. But before we go into any specifics on development, I suppose the best way to bridge the gap is talking about me and Sui's desperate gambit for our last couple tickets, of course. Couple of you, I know 42 did an event too yesterday on Armstrong, but there was another one Sui hosted the day before that of our desperate gambit for the last couple tickets.
I had my event, and then 42 had the event the day after and slandered me, said that I wasn't big enough of a man to host another one.
Yeah, come on, man. Why didn't you make one? I asked you to make one.
He is making a good point, Sui. What have you to say in your defense?
Look, I thought that was the last time I was ever going to be able to do a contract in my life.
Nuh-uh.
Ooh, we certainly got close with some of the contracts that were being handed out on Armstrong that day. We were certainly getting close to the last tickets. I think both events on 16th and 17th, those Armstrong events, we had a fair pool of maps that really should not have been played for contracts. We did have some good times though. I guess that's what really matters at the end of the day. But seriously, what the fuck was that grid map?
I thought it would have been fine for these tabs, but
It was
Apparently
it
not.
was the idea of all time. That's all I gotta say.
It's only for a silly map, not for Taz.
Nah,
Unfortunate.
it was quite a silly map. It's so bizarre because I know we have maps that are like the break the blocks grid things, right? Like we have those, and we have another map. I might not even be in rotation anymore, but we had like a class warfare map that was just the grids, and this map is like both of those, and it was horrific and scary. And utterly all its own, which is commendable, I would have to say.
And it killed the server.
It
I did not kill the server. It's still
You
alive.
didn't
doing
kill the
it.
server. That's a strong way to put it.
Killed the server. I'll
No,
put
I
it
did
that way.
not.
It was not 42's fault. It was
not
Armstrong's
42.
lack of capability, so to speak.
Yeah.
They lack the capability to play gridlock, so to speak. Or whatever the map was called. I don't know. If it wasn't called gridlock, it's called gridlock now.
Sorry, Spook.
Sorry, Spook. Alright, outside of that, just before we get into general questions, I suppose, I'm kind of curious, how was your ticket grind, 42?
Like, I pretty much hit max on the first day that it's possible to do so. So I'd done it really early in advance.
Yeah, it probably would have been less stressful if I worked for that, but it's kind of difficult to get on for the, like, main hours of Red Sun, with my current working schedule. Which, you know, it's fine. I still get, like, if I want to play, I still have, like, an hour or two of activity that I can relax and veg to. But I obviously was not able to grind as much as some other people throughout the event. Though I was very, very, very lucky to have been able to complete my tickets, where many other have failed. And while we're here, I would like to extend my formal apology to you, Sui, for leaving as soon as I got my last ticket on Super Zombie Turtle Defense. That was my bad. I was tired. My DM needed me to roll up a new character sheet, so I needed to get moving. I was an hour past the time I needed to be there. So I'd like to apologize.
You know, I thought it was gonna be all well said and done because after that I went to Raiden to get my last few tickets, and we got surf contracts. And in the middle of surf contracts, June, who was on my team, got his title and fucked off too. I was left alone
I'm very sorry, Sui.
twice.
Twice. Beaten by a
the
mere
same
object.
goddamn day.
Oh, you poor thing. I'm so sorry. I would have stuck it out, but I swear I was needed elsewhere. I'm so terribly sorry. But, you know, I guess you forgive me enough because we're here chatting right now on the podcast with 42. And speaking of which, as asked for by the community, we have a couple questions from the community regarding the event, as well as a couple questions to kind of fill in some gaps, with me and Sui have been asking. Would you like to go over your notes before anything? Or would you like to just get straight into questions?
I would have gone through all of the notes I have first before answering the questions that I missed out. So.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to go ahead, we'll
Yeah.
give you the floor.
Is that all right? Yeah. Is it my podcast now? You can now go away.
Yep, I understand. We will be very quiet.
So, yeah, we started talking about the next event in late April 2023, before Ego Location even ended. So it was planned very early in advance. The very first thing we talked about, the whole idea of a concept, is, yeah, I'm already doing terribly, sorry.
Nah, it's fine. Don't
You're
worry.
fine.
Yeah, so, yeah, you can say that we started having the idea from this image here. You should be
This
very
image.
familiar with this.
I am very familiar with this image.
Do you even know where this is from?
I have been informed this is the Crystal Maze.
You
Is
didn't.
that correct?
2 hours before this podcast.
Yeah, thank you, Stud. You ruined this. Thank you very much.
It wasn't 2 hours. It was only half an hour ago.
Yeah, so for those of you that are unaware of what this is from the Crystal Maze, which is a British game show that was aired during the 1990s in the television. That's where we got the whole idea for the warp zone.
I believe it was
Yeah.
Toru's idea for the crystal
Yeah,
maze
it was.
specifically.
Yeah, it was Toro's idea. Like this image would help you a lot to understand it. So this is like the whole map of the show, the Crystal Maze. You would start at one of these 4 zones. I said it: industrial, medieval, futuristic, and there's an extra 5th one in the middle for the big crystal. So yeah, you would start. Well, the TV show would start in one of the 4 zones with a group of 6 peoples. The people would work together going through each 4 zones before finishing at the middle of a map. The big crystal here. So yeah, if you look carefully at this image, there are a bunch of smaller rooms in each zone. Each room has a challenge that one of the 6 people in group would attempt to complete it. So you could see here how this is all similar to the warp zone.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, even if the idea changed a lot, I can like see the concept in little pieces. Like, you know,
Yeah.
moving through little rooms, having people allocate different tasks. I'm kind of surprised how similar it is. You know, with as much of a change it sounded like there was.
Yeah, it was gonna be a lot more similar to the Crystal Maze. Yeah, so one example. Initially, the idea was not to be able to do all 3 tasks at once for the whole map. It was going to have it work the same way as a show, where we would only do one of the challenge or tasks for like 5 minutes before moving on to the next challenge for another 5 minutes, and so on.
That
So-
sounds rough. Did you ever actually like try all that in gameplay, or did it?
No,
leave
we never
concept?
tried it. Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like maybe that it'd be hard to find a situation that worked out.
yeah, it would not work out very well for several reasons. The whole game over the time limit, that's a big question. Extension. Another idea. But each of the 4 zones, you would actually be competing for a crystal. And the crystal is for the last part, the big crystal in the middle of a map, which the amount of crystals you have, the more time you get to stay at the big crystal, which you would use to collect as much tokens as you can, which that was used to determine for the overall score, I meant. So yeah, the warp zone was gonna be just like that. You won't get to get the moment you complete a task, but rather for the 4th last map, for the one big task.
I think Sui would have really appreciated if it worked like that. Given how
What?
his
You
contracts.
mean, man?
given
Yeah, it
how-
would be fun.
I'm so sorry. I know I apologized already
What?
to Sui about how his contracts went on the 16th.
Ugh.
People leaving as soon as they got their tickets, and I'm saying, you know, if we kept it like this, maybe Sui wouldn't have experienced so much torment.
Yeah, like the group disbanding would have been so much painful. You would get nothing for it. And like it would only matter if you complete the last 4th task, which would be rough.
This is interesting, though.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Even
So,
without
yeah.
even getting too in depth into it, you can see how it led the warp zone. It's interesting. It's intriguing, and I wish I'd known this sooner and read that thread wherever it is, somewhere in the forums.
Crystal Maze is such a good game show. I have watched it as my childhood. Such a great one. Another idea. So, back to the fourth last map.
Mm-hmm.
It was going to be like just one big task to complete. Another idea was to just have 5 smaller tasks at once to be able to complete all of it. Did not happen, mainly because we were already struggling to think of more task idea for all of the game modes.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like a fitting big challenge for any of the game modes, and I'm kind of struggling.
Yeah.
Maybe the big challenge could have been for VSH is to win one round as boss without class equalizer coin.
That we have a lot of ideas we have, but scrap so many of it. I could go go through all of it. If you
yeah, we do have actually a couple questions from both me and Sui and some of the people in the community regarding some scrapped things. We could get into that now, actually, if you want. Maybe not directly move the questions, but if you could go over them now.
Yeah, we could go on to do it now.
Sure then. I mean, tell us about some of the scrapped tasks. I'm very curious about that. Both like before and after the transition to like warp zone from the crystal maze. And I will see real quick who asked the question, because I know somebody else asked the question besides Cater. It was the specific message was Mr. 42. Were there any contracts that weren't used because they were deemed too hard or annoying? And I would like to clarify why I have the airspace that Cater had spelled where wrong every time in that sentence. Spelled too wrong as well. Embarrassing, Cater. Do better. Anywho, continue.
So yeah, there are several tasks we had. Firstly, to dodgeball domination.
Ooh,
if you remember the past,
that would have been not ideal.
Yeah, like if you remember the past contract event, there was one. It was painful. It was mainly because of the dodgeball challenger and that keeps screwing it up.
I don't even like dodgeball. I'm wincing at the idea of dodgeball dominations.
I just got PTSD.
Terrible coin.
Yeah, Sui's not doing good right now.
I remember that contract.
1,000-yard stare.
Another one for dodgeball is to reflect a fairly fast rocket. Just kind of forgot about that idea. Whether it would be a good idea or not.
Yeah, I think that would just happen. Maybe amount of dodgeball coins used could have been a contract. I see about 50 of them each time. It's like glass attack.
Yeah, speaking of glass attack, there are some ideas we have with glass attack. 2 in fact, one for kills specifically using the primary weapon, and another one for using the melee weapon. And no, I don't think it would work out well. This was before we thought of an idea of broken glass kills, which is better, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I would much rather have broken glass kills than the other two. I think it kind of... I mean, I've talked a bit about my feelings on glass attack before, but I think the main problem with glass attack is the amount of maps that, like, have an absurd amount of unbreakable platforms. So you you're just playing bad Huntsman Hell. Really? Is the way to put it. Sometimes it really just feels like bad Huntsman Hell on those maps, and so I think it's good to have glass kills to kind of encourage.
Yeah, that's the whole point of
participation.
That's the whole point of glass attack. Kills using the glass.
With the glass. I mean, I don't think I'd want a version of the game mode where you can't deal damage to somebody with a gun. I think that would be a little too extreme. I think honestly the way the damage is now is just fine. Like it takes like 2 or 3 headshots to kill a person. I think that's good. I just wish there was more maps, there were more glass, you know?
Another task idea we had, player versus map. Before we thought of an idea for support task, there was one just specifically for medic Ubers, which would have just encourages more to play medic. Yeah.
I can't imagine complaining about more medics.
Yeah.
This is
Maybe
unheard of
can't.
territory for TF2.
Another one for man versus man. Idea for using power-up canteens, but I don't think it would go well. People would just very much just throw and spend too much cash on it.
Yeah, I'm already imagining the argument in my head between just picture two random Red Sunners in your head arguing about how, dude, you threw the match by eating 50 canteens. And then the other says, no, I had to finish the contract. Like, I can already picture that scenario.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Uh,
typical.
More general task idea we have like crit kills, damaged out using bullet, explosive, and fire. Just didn't go with it.
Yeah.
Like, there's already offensive, defensive, and support classes that pretty much is like that instead.
Yeah, I definitely think dividing it up into attack, defense, whatnot is the best way to go about that.
Yeah.
It also deletes, like, melee from the equation, too, in that scenario. Which, now that I think about it, not the worst loss in the world, but, you know, still not ideal. Definitely the way to go was offense, defense, support.
That's pretty much it for the task that we didn't go with it.
Outside of that, I mean, I know you covered everything, but was there any tasks specifically you didn't go with because they were too easy rather than too hard?
No.
Or,
Not
like,
really.
I guess maybe any numbers you felt needed to be tweaked while in pre-testing?
Well, like, as for the numbers, for about 6 months before the event begins, we have added a plugin to servers that track all the kills, round wins, objectives, etc., which was used to help give us an idea
Oh.
on what requirement we should set for many of the tasks we
Wait,
have.
really? That's fucking cool. You, like, averaged out, basically, what you saw, what seemed reasonable from gameplay?
Yeah, that's what we had used.
That's
to...
fucking cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool, actually. I was kind of wondering what kind of inspired a lot of the number choices and whatnot.
Yeah, so...
And I guess that's it, more or less.
So there is still some game modes where it was not the greatest to track kills. For example, Combat Surf, not many people would kill, and yet it's very possible that you could get millions of kills.
Yeah, I imagine that one was
So
gonna be weird.
there's still that. Yeah, there's still that to watch it.
Yeah, there's definitely a few times when I was doing surf contracts that the kills felt a little large. The number of kills. It was never, like, bad, it was just kind of disproportionate. You know what I mean? Like, just a little strange. I'm not complaining, though. I honestly think it was fine. Outside of that one Badlands map. God, I hope it's already removed. I don't know if you were there that morning, but there was this one map, it was called, like, Surf Badlands or whatever. I think Juice already put it in the map removal, Fred. It was a stinker. It was a stinker for surf contracts. I've never seen a combat surf map where you can't go to the combat zone for like 2/3 of the round. It's just weird. But of course, like, certain maps are going to be an outlier for contracts. That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Like we had, you know, plenty of mystery maps, for example, that are kind of outliers and do some funny things.
Yeah, well, what else for task? I have know some more questions from task, right?
I can look through and see if we have any more task-oriented questions.
Alright, there was one from Tom Martin.
Yeah, I'd written down Tom Martin's question. Did he ask one specifically about tasks?
Yeah.
I might have missed that. What I had written down was his question about how you guys approached maybe some feedback from prior events. If you want to get into that instead of tasks.
Oh boy.
Right, like,
To be fair,
Mm.
before anything, Redsun is maybe not the best source of constructive feedback.
Well, like you can't really take much feedback from previous event when you want the whole system for next event to be different from past events. So
That's true,
for the
but
walk,
like still, if
for the
there was
walk,
anything, maybe. that came up.
can I speak, please?
I'm sorry. I have brain disease.
So, on the warp zone, you would have to go back years ago when the last time we had contracts, where we look for that to find an issue for that event and try to avoid repeating it again. Although there is manning the machine parties, that we have also looked at it quite a bit on how we should form the groups, etc.
I'm kind of curious about. Well, no, maybe that doesn't make sense. I was gonna ask a bizarre
What?
question about what point it came to parties, but then I remembered that was the whole point of Crystal Maze.
Yeah, that's the whole
So I
point of
gotta
this.
erase that question from my question list. Don't want to look like a
Like-
dummy.
Like, another reason we did groups for complete one task is that it's very different from previous tasks.
It
We had
is
never
very
done that
different.
kind of thing.
I've
yeah.
loved it personally.
Now it works out pretty well.
I think it worked out well. I think Suri liked it too.
Well, it's good when people don't leave, but
I'm sorry, Sui. I will give you one of my 90 earthquake coins to make up for this.
Oh wow, thanks.
I can give you 2. 3. I'm not going higher than 3. I really need these earthquake coins.
Ugh.
I don't know, maybe we need to start a new Eno bit. Like with the glass coin donations, except you need to donate earthquake coins to Jolly on Redsun.tf. That's right. If you're listening right now, it'll be really funny
Blah,
if you
blah,
donate
blah,
earthquake
blah,
coins
blah,
to
blah,
Jolly
blah,
at
blah.
Redsun.tf.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah. And like I said, the other task question was one we'd already answered, which was Cater asking if there was any that were too hard or annoying. Here's a I guess the last task question I can think of is, did you have any that you couldn't implement? Like not in terms of oh, this wouldn't work. I mean in terms of we could not get this to function or track correctly.
Only one that I can think of is Death Run. Avoiding traps from the activator activates the trap. There is just no way you can detect it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, speaking of Death Run, Death Run only had 3 tasks. We were very struggling to think of ideas. What
Hey,
tasks we could add
mean,
to Death Run.
I have an idea that I would have done. I would have done kill streaks. Kill streaks are in every video.
Now there's already a kill streak
But,
one.
no, not kill streak. I mean with B hops, I don't know, a B hop 40 times in a row or something. That might have been a cool one.
B-hop sounds a lot more similar to distance travel.
To be fair, and I did actually want to talk a little about distance traveled specifically. This is part of my questions. And I guess it goes with a bigger question too, but I do remember there was a couple contracts and missions we adjusted within those first 2 days. And
Yeah.
one of the more notable ones to me, I remember, was bringing distance traveled from 2,000 to
Yeah, it was
15,000.
I think it was 40,000 at first for Death
Was it
Run.
really 40,000?
Yeah.
That or
Shit,
35.
I don't think that's doable.
It was insane.
Oh my!
So
I didn't remember 40.
no, it was 40 because distance travel was one of the later tasks that we thought of an idea. So there was not much time for the data to collect and analyze on what's a good number for it. And somehow I got
I
40,000.
presume it was done with the implication or thought of oh, everybody's gonna be trying to farm this on the team.
I don't know how I got 40,000. Maybe there was just one of a map that you can farm so easily
I'm
with that.
sure You had a
went
good
with it.
reason for the 40.
Yeah,
Because
like,
that's kind of an offshoot that happened by accident.
yeah.
I thought it was fine when it got moved down to 20, though I do get why it got moved down to 15 again later.
There are some small maps.
Yeah, there
but-
are some maps where it's kind of rough. We did actually play one the other... I don't know if it's the roughest map, but I remember we played DR Horror the other day. It's definitely not one of the worst ones, but it is a little bit of a struggle. I think the worst one, in my experience with distance farming, was, I forget the name of it, but it was the Crash Bandicoot one.
Egypt?
No, there's... Okay, to be honest, there's like 11 Egypt Death Run maps.
Oh, wait, you're talking about the other one.
The Crash Bandicoot one specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one I remember was a big struggle. I mean, I was running that down to the last minute, basically.
Right.
Is there any other
No,
that
the-
come to mind for difficult Death Run maps? Do I get that done? Can't think of any. I mean, I didn't play when Water Run came up, but that probably would have been one of them.
Well, there was one at the beginning of the event that we played. It was like the first contract that I had. It was like one of those synthwave Death Run maps. I forgot the name of it, but it was
It wasn't
tiny.
Neo-Noir.
It was not Neo
Was
Noir,
it
but
the,
it was like
the obby one that moved to a different color each zone?
maybe I can't remember it because it was like sort of
or was it-
February.
See, because I know there's another synthwave one, but it's also like just straight up hallways, so I presume you're not talking about that one?
Yeah,
Because I think that
But-
would be light work.
this one was tiny. It only had like 2 floors, and our distance traveled was at like 40,000. And you're like, how the hell are we supposed to do this?
Does that ring any bells, 42?
No. What else?
I swear, it's on like the tip of my tongue. But I'm not getting anything. I don't know. We might remember later, we might not. But yeah, outside of that, what was kind of the intent behind any other of the changes? Because I remember there were a couple. Not a lot, but there were some others besides the Death Run one.
Like a lot of, like, as I said, a lot of these numbers are from data collecting during the past 6 months, figuring out what's a good number would fit for it. So of course there are some outliers to it, as always. What else?
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of any specific that got adjusted after the publication of the event. Any come to mind for you, Sui? I swear
Not
there was
entirely.
a player versus map one. I
It was probably
swear.
support, wasn't it?
It might have been support.
Like,
Kinda-
the numbers was never changed, just the amount of rewards you get from it has changed a bit. That's all.
Alright, well, maybe we'll recall it, or maybe I'm just hallucinating it, and Death Run was the only change. Who knows? Outside of that, Sui, do you want to lead with one of your questions? For a minute.
Sure.
Alright, I mean, you have the document or whatever?
My document. I do not have my document. I'll just go to the
I
questions.
just pasted it into your DMs.
There is my document.
Yeah, there you go. I wrote down your questions.
Okay. So, well, I don't know why, but even like, well, before I was a moderator and before I was even like a fucking member of society, I knew 42, and I always thought he was some sort of like mysterious cryptid.
The old mic quality really was not helping convince otherwise, to be fair.
Yeah. And also, I
To
was
be
like a
100%.
Red Sun mute.
Yeah, I was mostly on mute until now.
It's good not to be mute. My Red Sun experience improved drastically once people could not ignore me anymore.
Yeah.
It got me this
Sure.
far. It got me to having a podcast, so that's something.
But one of my questions was, what is it like just working with other devs on Red Sun for a server event?
There was not much developers here that actually work together. During the warp zone, one of the biggest that I have to rely on other devs to work on is the artists. Yeah, figuring out what theme to go on and waiting for the artist to finish working on art. Yeah, struggling a bit on that.
Yeah, I know eventually you needed to move away from Crystal Maze. What motivated Arcade specifically, if you remember?
Yeah, the whole theming of the event.
I mean, were
Trying
there
to
any like
develop-
alternatives maybe to Arcade you might have thrown around before Crystal? Or
Yeah,
like after
like-
you decided no more Crystal Maze, but like before Arcade?
Yeah, like during the development, we were really struggling a lot on how we should precisely theme the event. We at the very start wanted to have it be retro 90s, but we could not figure out on what specifically the kind of retro we want to have. Like, do we want to have it more of a TV show kind of theme, like the Crystal Maze? Or do we want to have it more of a birthday party, like the Gloop system? Or do we want to have it more of an arcade video game kind of theme? This whole thing really depends on the event name, desk item, and material item, on whatever this fits for the theme.
Yeah, I mean, I really like how it turned out though. Though, like 90s game show still would have been a baller theme. Maybe next event. Maybe next event.
So yeah, speaking of those themes, the access item, we went for the coin on the string. I wonder if either of you get the reference to it.
It's a peak reference.
I do. It took me like a microsecond to get, but once I did, I was like, oh, that's really clever.
Yeah, it was really good.
It's adorable. I love it.
Yeah,
I'll
just
buy up all of them if I have the opportunity to. I hope they're tradable. No, they'll be genuine. You can't trade genuine, can you?
no, you can't trade
Yeah,
genuine.
I would have bought up all of them. I really would have. It's a great
By
item.
the way, speaking of coin on the string, disclaimer: don't try this at home. Don't try this in real life. Don't try this. You will
I
get in
don't-
trouble if you try
I
it.
don't even know if arcades accept like coins anymore.
I'm not sure.
Like, a couple months back when I went to this like old ass pizza place, they had like a Galaga machine in the back. But in terms of like actual arcades I've been to, in my relatively brief stint in America, most all of them work on some like card system. Like you pay $50 to load it up with so and so points. Yeah, I don't like that. I thought arcades were cooler.
But I mean, it works for the retro, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
Get your
yeah.
tokens.
Makes me wonder, do kids even like go to the arcade anymore? Because I don't know how the fuck they afford that.
No,
Those
arcades
cards are-
probably like don't exist anymore. It's just so
well,
I
sad.
mean, I saw one
Um,
in the city. There was one. It was
Now,
just the
I have-
main center place. It's great.
Hey, like during the Sonia 71 at Birmingham, there is an arcade there. That is very much perfectly fits the theme that we want to have. That arcade was called the Vortex Zone.
And
If
those
it's very
still
similar
do
to-
quarters.
Yeah, we might have took that idea from the Vortex Zone into the Warp Zone. We might have got that.
It's very interesting. I would ask a
Um,
little bit more about that arcade, but this is more of a Warp Zone centric thing than it is a 42 centric thing, so to speak. But yeah, I want to keep it on topic, make sure, I'm sure eventually we'll have you on for a more full interview. But as per your request, we're trying to keep it Warp Zone, you know what I mean? Though I am curious about what that arcade is like. I think they're just
I do
such
have
a
another
fun
question.
aesthetic. Oh, go ahead, Sui.
Yeah.
So I know it was like you had to shuffle around the theming of the event a bit. You eventually landed on the arcade, but
Yeah.
was the name Warp Zone always Warp Zone, or did that come after you went, oh, let's go to the arcade idea?
No, that the name of Warp Zone is like the very last thing we have decided on. We have been
Interesting.
calling it Force Field for so long We were initially going to just straight up call it Force Field as the name of this event. Yeah, not until the very last moment
Force
that we
field
called it the
does
Wolf
kind of
Zone.
go hard, to be fair.
Yeah,
I'm
like
just
we were
saying,
just
if y'all want to recycle
excuse
Force
me.
field, we got no problem. It's a good name.
Yeah, like we were just really struggling on thinking of ideas for it. We developers are not creatives.
I thought the point of a developer was to be creative.
We just can't think of good ideas for it.
Nah, I get
We're
that
terrible
though.
at this. Speaking of assets paths, back to it. Another idea we had instead of calling them string is a pocket bag with an infinite amount of coins, literally infinite. And there is a magic wizard behind this, so you never ran out of coins on constantly playing it.
An infinite bag of coins is an extra layer of funny, but
Yeah.
I like the coin on the string better.
Yeah, we went for that anyway.
Hell, if I can get an infinite bag of earthquake coins, I wouldn't complain.
As for the material item, we went for the prize ticket. It's like the kind of reward you would get in an arcade. Simple as that. Other ideas we have for material is a crystal, like the crystal maze. But I don't want this theme to be too similar to the Mr. Crystal Maze, as I want to give its own thing.
Yeah, the tickets do work out for that real well.
Yeah. Another idea we had was gems, as I thought gem being colourful and shiny would fit to the theme. But otherwise we just went for the ticket.
I do like shiny things on Red Sun.
What else?
Well, we could proceed with a couple more of the questions we have on here, or if you've nothing in mind from your notes.
Yeah.
Alright, I suppose we could go on to a couple of community questions. In this case, from Jay. Jay asks if there is any way that, maybe not if future events necessarily, but if you're going to, you know, work on a future party system in any way, if there was any ways you'd want to improve that, so to speak, with the knowledge you gained from Warp Zone.
Yeah, like the whole groups and disbanding. I'm not too happy with it.
Yeah, disbanding was the one thing they did mention pretty specifically on there.
I feel that.
Yeah, like
I'm sorry, Sui.
Like, it's a whole new concept, so we did not have much idea on how it would go. And now the event has ended, I had ideas on how I would improve it. One example being that I would have only disbanded the group when the map has ended, not in the middle of a map.
That's fair.
And I would have also made it where if your group were to disband on this map, or at the end of a map, you would be able to find a new group, join it for the next map. So you don't have to wait for one map where you awkwardly don't have any tasks to complete.
Yeah, that was kind of the thing I was wondering. I remember a couple people asking about, like, having it disband at the end of the map, but my thought was always like, well, then you won't be able to get into a new group.
Yeah.
And what I'm getting from what you're saying is you would have liked to do something where you have both. You stay in that group, but you can kind of start on a new one.
Yeah, I would have done. Yeah, I would have done something like that. It just won't be simple to code in, and it's not anything that I would be able to do while an event is still active.
Yeah.
I would just be open up a lot more bugs that would be so stressful to fix.
Yeah, but I mean, if we ever did try a party system again, whether it be for a big or small event, that would be something you'd maybe look at.
What else? What else?
From Juice, I have the question of if we're planning to have any more ARGs in later events.
ARGs, oh boy.
Are you the right person to ask?
Okay, so like, I have done a few ARGs. But I just don't want to get into total kind of stuff on ARG. I'd rather have ARG have a clear goal, be kept simple on how you will be able to solve it and complete it. So there's that whole thing.
You feel like that's
Which is
kind
why
of...
in
Well, you first.
that is why in this warp zone event I have kept it simple with a clear goal to find all the clues, and it was figured out quite quickly.
Yeah, I was not around for the day we were figuring out all the clues, but I remember it being, pretty hype from what I saw in the Discord. So that's all.
Yeah,
No
like
problem.
I have a few save pictures here on some of the hiding spot that I love to put it here.
You're free to share them, actually. That'd be perfectly, fine. We do images on the screen. I'm curious to
Like,
see them.
Yeah, one in here. If you, they look through the cells for that F8 here. It was hard to spot. That was my image sent.
Kind of see it, yeah.
Okay, thanks Discord. Wonderful of you.
It's
Yeah, it's
not
doing
uploading.
terribly. Yeah, it's not uploading. Wonderful.
It can be a bit funny sometimes.
It's okay. You
Oh,
can
there we
just
go.
view in browser.
We
Yeah, there's one here.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, that was a tough spot here. It was one of the last to find it. Another one here, and my favorite spot is literally just right underneath Red's spawn room. It was such a good hiding spot. And my Discord is doing terribly again uploading images.
Yeah, well, it's not your fault. It's Discord.
Yeah, there we go. I think.
Rapscallions at Discord.
No.
I know Black Knight's already
Uh,
foaming at his mouth, ready to talk about moving.
Yeah,
to
do we want to move to
TeamSpeak.
TeamSpeak?
I don't have much experience with TeamSpeak, but I remember for a couple years now, a couple people in the Discord have been talking about how much of a game changer TeamSpeak 5 is going to be or something. I can't say I'd particularly mind that much. I have plenty of gripes with Discord.
I'm sure we all do.
Damn mobile app update, mainly. That, God, fucking... Just
Yeah.
let me see the people online. Stupid change. I mean, it's just crazy. Among other things, but you know.
Nah, I don't think my image is being uploaded, but
I mean,
come
I'm
on.
Oh, I
seeing
saw that one.
Pangu with the 14 is gotta be the most crazy image description of all time for audio listeners.
Okay, well, there's one here. You can see the
No-
number 14.
No clue what audio listeners are picturing right now, but I hope it's as amusing as it is for me to look at.
Like, are you able to see the image now?
Yep.
Yeah, I can see them.
Yeah, that number 14.
I see the 14.
Yeah, that 14 is actually fake. That was actually...
Oh, that's a fucking spray?
Yeah, it was Alex Turtle spray.
Alex, you fucker.
Alex.
Hi YouTube.
It was so good.
That's so fucking funny. Shit, I would have done that.
Yeah, like, the moment I have heard that the number 14 is found with this screenshot, I just knew that Alex is behind this.
Alex
He
was
had
doing
done this
shit.
before. He had done this before in Swashbuckler ARGs, and I knew this in advance from staff discussions. It's still very good.
I wasn't aware Swashbuckler had an ARG. I must have missed that.
Yeah.
That's big. It's a very nice rocket launcher too, but that's an unrelated point.
Um.
Right.
Yeah. How about that's all?
What else? What else? Going over some of the other community questions. From Canardi. Canardi asked what was the funniest thing that happened during the event. I presume we can take that both as in like a development standpoint, as well as like, you know, maybe some personal experiences with Warp Zone. during the event.
Like, I'm not sure I know really any funny moments. Although I do have a few images during the development, but I could share it. Let's see.
Yeah, we could.
Like, if Discord would upload an image that is.
And not to it.
Uh,
Is this the laser
dear.
sight we're seeing here?
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
What was
That
the
was funny.
motivation behind laser
I
sight?
mean,
I'm
well-
kind of curious.
Then we were working on adding the glass attack coin, and I just find this funny. All these sniper bots with one massive laser.
This looks like something out of one of Miku's meta missions. Like this pops up on wave 4 and it just shoots a laser beam. That's a good
The
idea.
wretched Ibot.
Wretched Ibot. The wicked beastie. I personally like the laser sight coin a lot.
And then there's also this oddly looking one. This is during when I was testing out unusual Ubers, seeing which effects would work well. And yeah, I somehow made this.
10,000% Uber is a sight to see.
That's crazy.
Otherwise, outside of development, what other funny moments? There was something funny about happened during the last minutes of the event. Hold up.
God, oh, I remember seeing that.
Yeah,
How
so
you get tickets with like 0 of them earned, like minutes with
they're like, okay, so there was only like 10 minutes until event ends, and all of us in server were like, well, this is pretty much the end. No one else here will be able to hit Matt's ticket. But then Red, with the 4-letter D's in the name, shows up and we're like, I am missing 2 more tickets. And we were all like, oh my gosh, we need to help him. So we quickly changed map, created a new group from Red, and spam RTV to the next map. And we helped him complete the task and got the ticket. It was all wholesome.
It was like the opposite of the Armstrong events.
Yes.
I'm sorry, that was bad shade. Those were good
Yeah.
events.
Yeah, I got that title. Like 5 minutes left before the event ends. Okay. That hard never change. Never change.
Level hung. That's so not how to pronounce it, but I'm rolling with it.
Let's see. Otherwise, what else?
What else? I can go look through a lot of the questions I did have that I personally wrote were I kind of answered over the course of this discussion. You know, what inspired the party? You know, stuff like that. What decisions made something work like that? Yada yada. I suppose to kind of build on what we were talking about earlier about what was it? You know, the party system. This is a different question, but like, what are your end thoughts on the event in general? Are you proud of how it turned out? You'd say.
Like, overall, I'm pretty happy with it. Again, there is, like I've said it before, but the whole group disbanding could have been better, and preventing people leaving. I definitely would have done something to prevent a group being created, and then a person would just leave before the first match
like
even
League
begins.
of Legends leaver penalty.
I'm not really sure if a penalty would be a good idea.
I don't think a penalty would be a good idea.
Like I would have just instead find another person for the next map.
Maybe.
That's something that I would have done instead.
It could have been a good idea. But yeah, I mean, you'd say overall you were pretty happy with how it turned out.
Yeah. Otherwise, there's a whole last recently played restrictions here. Yeah. A lot of people were not happy about it, but like,
I felt like this was one of the most positive events we've had.
like, I think it's fine. Like, it was a bit shaky at the start. The restriction was too much, and I loosened it a little bit, and it's pretty good now.
I mean, people obviously will try and milk the fun out of it pretty quickly. Oh, and there was 6 people in the party finder and nothing happens. Yeah, I remember that.
There was 8 in here. I cannot find a group.
Who the fuck is named Furry Sex Supreme? I bet you
Oh,
$50 that was even. I bet you $50 that was even.
It's probably Ethan.
It's
It's
probably
for
even.
no. It's for the group names to make some funny, silly names.
I know
It was so
Ethan
good.
changed. It was either Ethan or Alex, because I had Alex do that once too. They had their name set as Cock.
Yeah.
So
No, it
Jolly
was-
Cock was the title of a group one time, and then he changed it back afterwards to Alex Turtle. I will never forget this, Alex. I remember this. I'm not even going to show the image, but I remember it. I remember you, Alex. I won't forget this. Could proceed. I didn't mean to distract with that.
Yeah.
I do feel like the group names are one of the better things to come out of it, though.
Yeah. So
What inspired that, actually? If you don't mind, that's my
yeah. So
new question.
yeah. So for the group names, like the only thing I can really see that I could figure it out, man in the machine party system. That is like the only thing I can use to imagine what it would be like in a warp zone. And its party name was very rarely manually set, so it would be lame to see it happen in the warp zone too. So I just went all goofy on it.
It was
also-
quite goofy.
It also fits with the whole party theme, retro. I guess.
Yeah, I really like the system. It's led to many wonderful moments.
Yeah, another thing that the group name does is to determine the icon and colors for what your whole group is gonna be.
What was
And
with
you
the colors? I'm kind of curious.
Yeah, initially the colors was going to be just pure random with millions of possibilities, but I just didn't quite like it. There are some colors that I did
Are not good.
Not good. Yeah, like this example image. So instead, I just went with a set list of 12 colors to use, and I am lazy enough to just directly take the same list of colors from echolocation for coloring the Easter eggs.
That makes sense. Here's some
Yeah.
good colors for what they were worth, though.
Now, as for the icons, we just went for the circle letters. Begins with whatever group name happens to be. So, if your group is named Waffle, begins with a letter W, use the W icons.
Damn,
Uh,
do we
they're
even
like
have
symbols.
anybody in Redsun whose name starts with a W?
Now, I'm
Whoa.
pretty sure I know a lot of groups.
Whoa, that's right.
Like otherwise, if the first character of the name is not an alpha letter, it would then use the second character, and so on. But what if the group name is just entirely numbers and symbols with no letters?
Did you
What
test
would
that?
happen? Yeah, if that were to happen, then a backup symbol were to be used instead.
What was the
And
backup?
that's it's an Among Us.
Among Us!
It all comes. Oh
it all
my
comes
god.
back to the start of the podcast.
Yeah, like this Among Us symbol has been here for the entire event. Anyone could have got it, but it never happened.
Never
That's
happened.
what you were talking about. Oh my
man.
god.
This would be such a perfect point to end the podcast on coming back around to the Among Us if I didn't save the birthday stuff for last. So, I'm cursing myself for that. Would have been peak.
That not only the Among Us symbol, Krillin, one of the developers, even made the whole background of the Among Us. If you look carefully.
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh no.
Oh no!
Yeah, you could have got that if you had an Among Us symbol.
Redsun's gonna weep when they find out about this. They're not ready for this reveal. They're really
Like my
not.
brain just exploded. Like this is earth-shocking news.
Yeah. If only someone was smart enough to think, what if the group does not have any letters?
As much as
No one-
I'm glad he wasn't here for the event, I can guarantee somebody it would have been attempted if Haram was here.
Ethan.
What do you-
Like, Like, it would have been very tough to perform
Harem would have
this.
tried. He really would have. He would have
Yeah.
found the way.
But
I can
it's-
give him that. Much as he fucks around and finds out, he would have managed it.
Like, you would have to require some coordination with 4 users in group to get some silly symbols.
Nobody would
to make
believe
fun.
it. That's the funniest thing. You could post it in general. Nobody would believe
If it
it.
happened to you, you'd be like, guys, I swear to God,
It's
it was
Among
Among
Us.
Us everywhere. It's like, you're fucking insane.
Like, I pretty much have to add it because there is always a possibility that there is not a single letter. I had to add some kind of backup, and so Among Us.
Among Us.
Beautiful.
God, I can't. This is gonna be a fucking eyesore to edit.
It's peak.
Eh.
It is peak. Alright, moving past those sussy bakas. I suppose my last question I'd written out, and we have covered most of the community questions too. I guess I didn't mention it earlier, but Cert was the one who had asked the question originally about Crystal Maze. And I didn't get to ask his question because it just kind of came up naturally, a conversation about Crystal Maze. But to clarify before anything, Cert was the first person who alerted me to the forum being a thing via Drunken Forum post. So, thank you to you, Cert. But my last, actual question I'd written up was, if this, I'm sure future events are quite far away, but if this experience has kind of given you any inspiration for future events and maybe how you want to run those.
Huh?
If this event is giving you any inspiration for future events, maybe. If there's anything you want to, take away from it, like, maybe next time we should try so-and-so.
Well, now what I did learn about this is that I do want all the event to have some kind of interaction with the people, rather than just be individual, just yourself, doing your own thing, blah blah blah.
Yeah, so never again, like a blood contract or whatever.
You're like... Yeah.
Phoenix Rising.
Phoenix Rising wasn't the worst event.
It wasn't Blood Counter, but it was Phoenix Rising.
Like, otherwise, I can't really take much inspiration from this when I still want to make all the event unique from each other.
I mean, hey, Swashbuckler was team-based, and that sure happened, so...
No.
The mark of
Nice.
quality has nothing to do with if it's teams or not, we'll say that. Swashbuckler was an incident. I still see people fight about their Swashbuckler teams to this day in the Discord channels. Every now and then, I'll see somebody pop up and call somebody a slur over being from the Jim Bobs or whatever. Jim Bobs. It's
Sounds like
funny
something a
people
tequila
still...
thug would say.
It does. It's crazy people still beef over that. I can't even remember what team I was on without checking on any given day. It's just crazy to think people give a shit. We do
See,
love
I don't care about any of that anymore because I won.
Oh, that's it? That's why? If you were in last place, you'd be mad? Is that how it is, Sui?
No. Because I wasn't in last place. I won!
You won. You heard it first here. What team were you on, 42?
Tequila.
Tequila. I guess I'll check because this comes up every time on the podcast.
I think we were both in instinct.
We talk about Swashbuckler at least once. I was on Tequila. I really did speak like a tequila thug. What do you know? What do you know? But yeah, that about wraps up
what else?
I mean, as far as I know, that's about all we kind of have to ask on Warp Zone. Unless Sui has any closing questions on Warp Zone.
Let me check what
And of
else.
course, you're free to share some more notes too. Of course, we love that.
Yeah. Let's see.
That's my last question. What else do you have to add, 42?
42.
Like there's a whole reward system where we cap to 200 tickets. We went back and forth on whenever to do 150 or 200. Yeah, we went for 200.
I think
It's
200
ended up
was a
being a
good
bit.
sweet spot.
It's ended up being a bit too much for many people. So it was not initially planned, but yeah, we doubled the ticket rewards for the last 4 days for like you two to finish up getting all the tickets.
Yeah, it would have been rough for me and Sui if we. I I probably could have lived more comfortably than I did on that Saturday. I had made the executive decision of, just in case there's an emergency or something on Sunday, I'm gonna get it all done on Saturday. That was a grueling Saturday. Grueling Saturday.
I
But
would have cried, man.
Now you're having flashback from last day of Swashbuckler.
oh,
On the last
I
day.
don't even want to think about the last day of Swash.
Yeah, that's not. Nah. What
I-
else? Oh. Right, yeah, so when the event was finally released, it was chaotic for me as a developer. There was a lot of bugs. It was a huge mess. It was mainly because of a small delay between the database and the server that they had to go through each other back and forth. Because of that small delay, these are open to bug that something could unexpectedly happen to it during it. So, yeah, there's all that bugs I had to fix through. And that delay was especially a huge problem to Armstrong because the database is in EU while Armstrong is all the way in the United States, giving it a much more likely chance that anything could break and everything would just be more slower.
Yeah, I do remember the first 2 days of the event on Armstrong were quite interesting.
Oh.
Yeah, like during the first 3 days of the event, I pretty much just sat on my chair, on my computer, going through all the bugs, fixing through all, but also, I just want to play Team Fortress 2 myself.
Were there any interesting bugs or noteworthy bugs that came up, both during development and after release?
Yeah, one funny bug was that a group is being created, but only one person is in the group. So, awkward.
Ooh. Nah, they should have been sentenced to play by themselves. I think that's fine. Think about what they did. The naughty corner. Would have been great if we handed out any gameplay bans during that time. You just get to play in your own group. That would have been fun. To watch anyways. But outside of that, I think that does kind of wrap up our Warp Zone questions.
Hold on.
Again, you're free to keep sharing your notes and stuff. It's just in terms of questions, me and Sui are God knows.
Well, that is a little bit unrelated to Warp Zone, but there's
I
a
don't
whole
mean to rush
crate.
you at all, by the way, if it's coming off like that. We have plenty of time.
Yeah, like, there's the whole crate system that we can talk about.
What motivated the crate system? I mean, you know, like doing crates like these, that's kind of like the big one, you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of... A lot of games tend to, you know, it's more so a thing that happens with like anniversary events or whatever, but they'll have kind of a similar, like, here's every item we've had ever before, you can get them now, and special. Like, that kind of happens at some point. And I've always kind of wondered what's the thought process behind, like, finally, you know, pulling the trigger and doing that. Because, you know, it's kind of like the next events have to kind of work around that being what came before. So what made that the play for this event?
So, I in fact have this idea in mind for years on allowing unusual to be on non-skin items like respawn death and a way to get strange unusuals from it. So I have this screenshot back in late 2019 when I was just goofing around on crates, seeing how crazy I can go. So like you can see that this number is obviously
an image
fake.
of all time.
So I have always thought of this as a possibility for the future, but I just never really made a serious discussion with developers on it, just quietly kept it myself. My ears until when Setch made an item suggestion on Lightning Fury banner as an item instead of an effect. There was a huge support for that item suggestion, and it gave me the perfect opportunity to revisit my crate idea and present it to developers. And it became a reality.
I definitely think it was a good call. I think, to my knowledge, there's only been like 2 unusuals. Or maybe I'm thinking of strange unusual. I think I'm thinking of strange unusuals.
Strange unusual.
Yeah, it was fucking, what is it? Miku and who the fuck was the other one? I know it was somebody we were like, we can't let them have the only one. But I can't remember anything besides that. I could probably.
So yes, we did make these crates where like literally every single item of item type goes into one crate. I'm very happy with it. It gives like thousands of possibilities on what kind of items you can get from it.
Yeah, I can't see from looking in general. I'll look another time, but anywho.
And also, I have a fairly strong opinion that might be controversial to many of you.
Oh boy.
But the Opening item, the kill effect, I believe that should be an unusual death effect instead of an item itself. It just made perfect sense to me.
I see the argument. Is there any effects you tried that never really made it past
Oh,
testing?
we had gone through a lot of different effects, trying to see would that work or not. I don't have the images right now, but yeah, we had gone through a lot, trying out different ones.
Do any like stand out in your head?
I thought it would be funny if we like an explosion effect on death.
I think that's already an item in the game, the like Abominomicon badge.
Well, no, that's more of a Halloween specific, and more of a generic explosion.
What makes the explosion Halloween? Do bats fly out of you?
The Abominomicon.
Yeah, but I mean, we have Halloween enabled 24/7, don't we? Just me rambling, just me rambling.
I don't know.
It's a spooky explosion, you wouldn't understand.
What else? I think the only thing I got left to say is just a bunch of random stats I could show off to you.
Oh, we love stats. Feel free to show
Yeah.
them.
There are the things that have happened during the warp zone.
I remember
like-
actually somebody had been asking about like general stats for anything that happened, so I guess this is kind of a reveal of that.
Stats time.
So yeah, no, it should be already known that 261 users have coin on the string, and 90 are able to complete all 200 tickets, making about 34% completion rate, which I think is fine. 94 a pretty good number for completing all tasks.
I mean, to be fair, it's pretty generous to get like what items you want. You know, assuming you're not a diehard for every single item in there. I think it's
Like-
pretty reasonable that you know
Like-
you go.
Now we don't want to make it too hard to be able to complete or collect all the items. We don't want it like be roughly a medium size, maybe a bit low on the easy. Otherwise, I think it's pretty good.
I definitely think we picked kind of a good size for, you know, making it so it's very easy to get what you want, but the completionist is not like overly difficult. But you do have to work a bit, because like I managed, and again, I don't really pay Redsun that much in peak hours anymore, but I managed.
You're glad to hear it. Yeah, a total of 1,562 groups has been made. That's a lot of groups.
It's at least 4.
Yeah, about 78% of these groups have played all 3 maps. And about 11% of these groups are from Armstrong. Unfortunately, a bit of a low one, but well, because yeah, I just expect it.
It does feel like this event was pretty big for Armstrong participation, though, outside of...
Yeah, it was pretty big for the early days. The first 3 days,
Of course, it did peter off a little bit, but, I mean,
Yeah.
still, I think it was good.
And the last weekend, the last 2 days, it was a bit.
Yeah.
Well, we got this shortest group name, A Bot 0F, with just 7 characters, or 6 if you don't count spacebar. I'm really not sure. I'm really not sure how that name was formed. It's a bit of a mystery to me.
What is OF?
And the,
0.
and the longest group name we had, Mikush Defram Bamedi Kadagata. Is that how you say it?
I don't think anybody's gonna challenge you on to pronounce that.
Yeah,
Makushe Defrun Bad Medicator.
Yeah, 37 characters total. Pretty long.
Pretty big.
And what else? So, on average, a group lasted 1 hour and 11 minutes. Would have been longer if we don't count groups that disbanded early.
How much longer? Do you know? Did you look at that at all?
I did not look much. I imagine it would be around 90 minutes.
Sounds
Probably.
about right.
The group that had lasted the shortest for our Shirasa lasted just 2 minutes and 8 seconds.
How did that happen?
Yeah, I don't know how that happened, and if that is something you want to brag of, would be weird of you.
But they did. That's something.
Yeah, the group that had lasted the longest on Miss Suki Gremlins lasted 2 hours and 35 minutes.
And imagine if that mystery map was like something else, dude. You could have pushed.
Yeah, Man in the Machine and Super Zombie 4 just dragged on quite some bit.
Yeah, imagine that mystery map was like fucking SCP or something. That would have been miserable. Miserable.
Well, we got this one. The average amount of tasks completed by the amount of groups. So, 161 groups have completed all 9 tasks. About a 13% completion rate. By the way, this only includes groups that have played all 3 maps. So there is a lot of 6, 7, and 8 tasks completed, which I think is pretty good.
And kind of curious about the 0.
Yeah.
Well, we know one of them. You showed off one of them with the shortest time, so we know one of them.
No, like this only counts the groups that have played all 3 maps. Just even then, still failed to get any 9 tasks completed.
Oh my god, really?
Oh. Yeah.
I would have killed the people in my party. I would have killed them.
Like, both of those groups were really close into completing it, like the kill streak, but just not quite enough, unfortunate.
That is rough.
Yeah, really rough, yeah.
Oh man, I should get the one with June, who threw his dodgeball contracts on the first night.
June, the one who left me in my hour of need? I see.
June is not real for this. This is a June slander-based podcast. That and even, apparently.
What else we have here? Task. We have the 10 tasks that were the easiest to complete by the completion rate, the percentage rate, that is. 2 tasks that every single group has completed. Gets captured and man wins.
Does Gate captured? Does that count if your teammate doesn't capture?
Well, the Gate capture, that was actually bug. It was broken and it was made to be too easy. So I later removed it from able to get it. So you may well just ignore that. But TFGO round wins. Only 9 groups have that task. So, and all groups completed it.
Interesting.
Otherwise, some easy tasks we had. Glass attack, break glass, not a surprise. Death run round wins, not a surprise. Oh, a few here too.
Yeah, I mean, the first couple times I sold the Death Run out round wins, I thought it was a little low. But then I think of like a couple maps where Death almost always wins, and I kind of get it.
Like, I think it was easy because of the 12 kill streak. I should have replaced that 12 kill streak into an activated round win, so people don't just suicide at the middle of a match.
I mean, I do think it's nice of them to kill themselves, when they get their thing done. I think it's nice to kill yourself. It's nice they're looking out for the rest of the server.
Like, you think it's nice to kill yourself? Really?
But really, think about it. Red Sunners, they're looking out for others by hitting Killbind. That's kind of cool.
You heard it here first, folks. Jolly thinks it's okay if you kill yourself.
I did
Yeah.
not. This is like a bastardization of my words.
You should do it now.
A bastardization of my words. So, any other interesting stats?
Missy D 10 hardest tasks to complete. So the hardest task by percentage rate is stop that tank support class tills with just about 29% completion rate.
Huh. I wonder why stop that tank specifically.
I think that one because 60 kills might have been too much. Also because it's support, which people don't quite like support class, and that it's possible that you can get 2 kills tasks. So people is probably going to prioritize offensive and defensive instead of support.
Yeah, support's always kind of lowest priority when you have to make that call.
Like you can see, combat surf and further Saturnail was also low on the support kills and score.
I believe part of that was also just because I think medic score was halved for Saxton Hill.
Yeah, like Saturnail is a tough one actually.
Yeah, I
get all the
remember that
kills.
was really the only task I remember hearing like a lot of complaints about.
Like, honestly, I'm fine with it because I want people to stop playing versus Saturnail. I want to get less complaints from VSH. I don't want to get into VSH anymore. I don't want to deal with it. Leave me alone, please. Thank you very
42
much.
is so real for that. Holy shit. That is so true. You got something to say, Sui? You look like you were beginning a thought.
Nope.
No strong opinions on VSH?
I'm
Just
surprised that Blot's destroy from Bomber Mode is quite low. I'm not sure how.
I cannot remember doing a single Bomber mod contract to be 100%
Like,
with you.
yeah, Bomber Mode is one of the fewer game modes voted.
Yeah, I mean, I played on it a few times, but each one of those times I never had a party. That was, obviously, it was Midum and, yeah, it was Midum and Bomber mod I never tried a contract for, but that's because I just don't play Midum, though.
What else?
It's
Alright.
not about the kind of competitive atmosphere Midum has.
Right. Here is a fascinating fact. Every single group out there is unique in some way from the 4 users in group. As in, the 4 users that have grouped together has never made another group with the exact same 4 users.
Really?
Yeah,
That's interesting. I would have thought, like, you know, the Cater Miku circle would
yeah,
have managed something.
and another circle. I thought there would have been at least one where it happened twice, but it never happened. And I am really happy about that.
I am happy about that. I think that speaks to how well this event worked out.
Like they recently, that last play with someone that has an impact on it. Yeah. What else? Crates. There's all of that.
Ooh.
Yeah, during the Warp Zone event, a total of 1,882 crates has been unboxed.
Is that
That's crazy.
counting only the new crates?
Not just new crates, all of the crates. That-
Interesting.
All of that unboxed during the Warp Zone event, of which 27 unusuals has been unboxed, and only 2 strange unusuals has been unboxed. Yeah, very rare to get a strange unusual.
But I mean, the crates are still gonna be around after the event, technically, so.
Yeah, it will
Could
still
be
be
more
here.
soon to come.
Like, it's just gonna be a little bit harder to get the new crates now, when there is no more tasks to complete as a bonus to their crate drop.
Alright.
Otherwise, there's just one more thing that I have to show off with stats. The battle points. So this is a chart on the total amount of battle points that has existed from all of the users. So
Holy
you can
shit.
see when the warp zone began, it had gone down a little bit, but then the birthday sale really strikes down.
This is terrible for the trout population.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my god. That's crazy to look at. That is just crazy.
Yeah, like that drop in spike. That is a total of 146,000 battle points that has been spent on it.
Trying to
And that,
remember, did we have an event in November 2022?
yeah, that swashbuckler.
That was. I thought Swashbuckler was in the summer.
Yeah.
Well,
Because I'm just seeing another huge dip there, and at that time, and I was thinking maybe that's what that was. I can see where echolocation is, but I don't remember that spending any coin is the thing that kind of confuses me.
Yeah. Yeah, for that massive drop in spike on a birthday sale, that it took about 7 months to gain this amount of battle points. Then you just blew all of it in one day.
One era Twitch and Kablooey. I don't know, I can't do the demo man voice. I don't know, Sui, can you shoot me one?
what do you need?
Demo man voice. Your full heart, your full. If it's embarrassing, we can edit it out.
Kablooey!
That's good enough. That's good enough. We'll take him. We'll take him. We will take him. All right.
Yeah.
Is that about all the stats for Warp Zone?
Yes, that's pretty much all.
End of stats time.
Right. I would like to thank you again for all the Warp Zone stuff you've brought. It's been very interesting.
I think there's the questions left to go through.
I mean, really, we've gone through every question I brought on for this.
I think there was still a few that we have yet to answer.
Not from my Google Doc. Outside of ones that were, like, already answered to some degree.
Let's see.
You mean just taking a quick look at, the forum? I don't see anything that comes to mind.
That's the thing. So we asked for Warp Zone questions, but everyone just saw 42 and just like a bunch of miscellaneous stuff. Like
I
they
mean,
want
we
you
got
to answer
some
VSH
better
questions. and it's
We
like,
did get some
no.
better questions after I begged and pleaded. I know X-Stray was I found it finally, but X-Stray was the one who was asking about individual stats from post-event, which is, you know, all of what you just went over.
Individual stats. I just did not track any individual stats. So,
I mean, yeah,
can't
that
show
wasn't
anything.
quite individual, but they are stats that are fun.
well,
so.
like the only individual stat we have tracked is the amount of tickets I collected for the Mass 200. But right, no, we did not have any other individual stats to show off.
I don't know. I guess you don't have the stat, but the one I was kind of curious to see if there was a average amount of groups per an individual.
Well, we could probably do a quick math. 261 have coin on the stream, 1,562 groups has been made. So, whatever maths you can figure out from that.
I'm not good at math, so I'm gonna take y'all word on this one. Sui's channeling up a powerful what's 9 plus 10?
No, I just suck at math.
But I think about 8 or 9 groups made per user,
Interesting.
which sounds a bit low.
Sounds really low.
But although that is from all of the users that have coin on the stream.
That's fair. Zeros do bring it down a lot. And close to zeros.
What? Any other questions?
I mean, I'm taking a little quick look through the forum again, and I really don't see anything that hasn't been covered. So I think, yeah, in terms of Warp Zone stuff, we are pretty wrapped up.
I do see one from Tomarton, but it's kind of rude.
Yeah, I did not count that one towards.
Which one was it?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Are you sure?
Oh, right, yeah,
Sure-
why
you
someone...
sure what inspired
why-
you to make some of the contracts so fucking annoying to complete was his words.
So, like, well, one of the main reasons is because we just could not think of any other ideas for tasks. As it's already quite hard to think of 3 tasks for all of the game
I
modes.
appreciate you dignifying this question.
Like, but also, I thought some of the hard tasks are fine when any 4 users just have to do one of a task. So, I thought it's fine like that.
Alright.
Well, there you go.
Well, there you go. I think that about covers Warp Zone. I feel like that's like the 5th time I've said that.
That
For
is
real,
all
this
about the
time.
warp zone.
Technically, it is all about the Warp Zone, but I did save some of the birthday stuff for last if we want to chat a little bit about that before we go on our merry ways. So, as we spoke about earlier, Redsun.tf on last Thursday had its 9th, I think, birthday
Yeah, 9th.
celebration. Which, you know, the 9th year of the server being around, being a thing, being a concept that we all had to deal with the consequences of.
Alright.
For the occasion, we did have a commissioned art piece. I believe Fluff did the commissioning of some of our many server moderators, server hosts, and whatnot. Which I will have to follow up on them with who made that, because I think it's fantastic art style. I love it. I love the work. It's good. It's nice to have a very commemorative Red Sun piece like this, I think.
Yeah, I've already commissioned them for some stuff for the RPG.
Interesting. Might keep in theme and commission them some stuff for the podcast, maybe.
Oh boy.
We'll just have them be the unofficial Red Sun artist. It's their Burden the Bear.
Oh, speaking of Red Sun artists, I would like to have more Red Sun artists for the developer team.
You
We're
heard
really
it here.
struggling to get more.
If you're an artist, 42 needs you.
Apply for developer now.
Apply now.
Oh.
But yeah, it really is kind of a beautiful art piece, and I think it's fantastic, and I hope it stays up on the Discord. It's impressive. And alongside that, little birthday thing, we had a couple other things come with it. Of course, there was the double ticket drop rates that came with the birthday, which, you know, very nice, very appreciated. Helped me and Sui a whole lot.
Huh.
In addition, we also had a Scrap.tf raffle for items. Many, many items in there. I had forgotten to sign up for it, so that was kind of my misplay.
Same.
Oh,
I forgot it existed, that's the truth of it.
I didn't even know it was a thing.
That was my misplay, but there was plenty of items in it. There was Tour of Duty tickets, Reader's Choices, many chrome domes, many keys, a lot of chrome domes. I really cannot emphasize enough
Well-
how many chrome domes there were.
At least I won.
You did win. You did win. Let me do a little math here. 1, 2, 3,
Everyone's a
4, 5,
winner.
6. It was about what 55 chrome domes, if I'm doing my math correct. Jamie, if we could fact check that. And of course, on top of that, there was also the Australian revolver, which I did believe went to Tomoro. I'm not confident in that though.
Tomoro?
I don't
Martin?
know what his name is. Okay, we talked. The guy who made the fucking. Why did you make the annoying contracts comment?
Tom Martin.
Tom Martin, I forgot. Okay.
Like, I get it.
Tomoro.
I thought it was fine. Could be a little bit more polite, but otherwise.
Yeah, we've had some funny experiences with asking viewer questions on the podcast, though. People are getting used to asking serious questions, so to speak. I'm very, very afraid for what the questions, when we inevitably put up the thread for, Miku's episode are gonna be like. I'm afraid of those. I'm really afraid of what those comments are gonna be.
Among Us.
It's either gonna be real bad or they're gonna act polite because it's Miku. And I'm hoping it's the latter. But I'm expecting the former. I'm gonna be real. Y'all have not given me a whole lot of faith. But I believe in kind hearts and true souls, Sui put it one time.
You didn't believe me.
I didn't believe you, but I believe you. I know that's an absurd statement. Can we just let me move on? In addition to that, we also had a group of personal letters from our staff team. And, well, I think we'll talk about the letters a little bit more in a second.
I didn't read any of it. I just didn't have the time to do it.
That was...
Like, even though I did find the letter, I
Way
just
to
didn't have the
fucking throw
time
me
to do it.
off, dude. I'm fucking...
Yeah,
I
sorry.
was working up a mood. Just fucking... Full blast.
Yeah,
Didn't read it. Don't care.
Letters?
Yeah, but we-
fuck that.
Yeah, I probably should have read it, but didn't have the time to do it.
Bro, you can't fucking spring that like...
Yeah.
Oh my fucking god. Okay, okay. You okay, Sui?
Oh, that was great.
Okay, now I couldn't have asked for anything better. Thank you, 42. Oh god.
You're welcome.
I don't even know if I want to continue. I don't know where else to go. God, I have completely fucking lost the direction I was going. That actually fucked me so hard. Like, unbelievably bad. God. Alright, alright. Give me a second. I'm rebounding. I'm rebounding from the fucking psychic damage. I guess, we'll talk a little bit more about Sui's letter in a minute, but, and did you happen to write a letter 42, actually?
Yes, I did. A short one.
A short one. Well, I guess I'll give my thoughts before anything, to give you two some time to close out the podcast with reading your own letters. Because I think that's kind of the most elegant, the most...
I have
Cool,
lost
eh?
my letter. So that was not
I
good for
fucking
me.
love this guy. Can we please have him on again? I fucking love this guy.
Did you
Yeah.
read letters? No. Did you write one? Yeah. Where is it? I don't know.
No, that's how it goes when Sui asks me questions before the podcast. That's basically the energy. Here, I copied your thing from the letter list if you'd like to read it out 42, but like I said, I'll let y'all read your letters as we close out. I just want to give my personal thoughts for a minute, if you'll allow me the platform to yap. I mean, you don't have a choice, but, you know, I like the request to be nice. Though I do not have a letter prepared, which is something I really should have done, you know, for this little ending, I do want to kind of give my thanks and appreciation for Redsun to, I guess, stick around as long as it has. I, like quite a number of people on the Discord, or not the Discord, but just the community as a whole, came on as a part of just the Flowey map that Alex had worked on. You know, it was that stage of the internet, and I liked Undertale. And so I found, hey, TF2 was kind of the first real video game I ever got to play on my own time. All my friends around me, they did video games. They loved to play video games, but it wasn't until my very late teenage years that I got, into TF2. I got to give it a try, and I got to play a video game at all. It was on a very old Macintosh computer, which I still have in my closet somewhere. I have since moved on to something else, but I do keep it as it holds a lot of sentimental value, but I'll move on from that. It's been very special for me to have a community like Redsun to, not only keep me engaged with TF2, because the truth of it, I've said before, kind of jokingly, like, I would never think about TF2 if it wasn't for you guys. But in a way, that's kind of true. Truer than I would have realized that, without such good friends who give me a reason to stick around, even as much as I value TF2 as probably my favorite game, I'm not sure I would have been able to kind of weather a lot of the directions the game's gone. Even though we really don't play much of anything that comes up in casual TF2 or ever really did. It's like, it's hard to articulate, it's very special to me that I have somewhere that not only can I engage and enjoy TF2 in, a time that I think it's kind of harder than ever to be a part of TF2 with the way Valve treats it, but to just have so many honest and genuine online friends like this. My whole life has been kind of chasing, online friends to try and escape a feeling of isolation from where I live, the community I grew up in. It was rough. It was really rough for me, and the digital space was kind of the only real thing I had for a very long time. And Redsun, has been a very important part of those online friendships. I value and cherish so many of you that I have met on Redsun. It's hard to sorry, I'm not trying to cry. I'm not trying to cry, but it's hard to overstate enough the way I want to the positive impact many of you have had on my life. Be such good friends and give me such good company, and I hope that maybe, at least in a small part, I've done the same for you, being a good friend. Because it means the world. It really does mean the world, as much as, in a way, it's kind of like having maybe not so much a bunch of friends, but sometimes just like one big friend. That's kind of how a community feels sometimes. It's no less special. And I want to emphasize, I appreciate each and every one of you so much. And thank you for making such a great community. A community I feel it's worth doing, all this extra work, all this podcasting for. So, thank you to whoever's listening. Thank you to 42. Thank you to Sui. Thank you for making such a great community, and I'm hoping we make it to 10. That is my closing statement. Apologize if I got a little sappy there for a minute, but if you two would like to expand on that or read off your own letters, you two are free to.
Do you want to go first, Sui?
Sure.
Alright.
I don't know how I can top that Oscar nomination of a speech,
I'm kind
but
of a
yeah,
yapper,
I'll go
though.
ahead.
I'm kind of a yapper, though. That's the difference. I do too much yapping.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go ahead. So what I wrote down was this. what I can say about Red Sun is that it is truly one of a kind. Having been in and around this community, even all the way back in the Slag days since 2011, I can truly say that there really is no other place like this. You know, like I know it's common for people to jeer and act like they don't care and overall be kind of negative, but like if that were the case, then this place would have died out years ago. I mean, we're going on 9 years strong right now, and there's really no signs of stopping. And I think that's because we care enough to stick around, or at least, well, I do. And I can call it a gift, I suppose, having so many people here, like 42 and Jolly, to call a friend, and having so many fun and, well, unorthodox game modes to play with them. Uh, hell, I don't know, maybe there's something in the water for all of us to keep sitting here, and for all the events and New Year's shenanigans, and for me to drop a whole ass fan game for it. But even if there is, I'd say to raise a glass for more TF2 hysterics to come. So here's to you, Red Sun, you wonderfully weird group of miscreants. Here's to you.
Couldn't think of a better way to put it than a wonderful group of miscreants. And you, 42, as our esteemed guest to the podcast, if you'd
Yeah.
like to read off your little letter.
Yeah. Redsun is a unique community unlike any other in Team Fortress 2. A small group able to keep server up active daily for almost a decade on an old game that gets very little updates. Every major update we try to hit the limit on how far we can go. I have learned a lot on the way there. Thanks to you all interacting together and able to keep it active. Is it for me?
It's a great way to put it, 42. And
Phenomenal.
phenomenal. I mean, yeah, that kind of ends our thoughts. That has been the last week in Red Sun, so to speak.
Truly has been.
Truly has been a week, and I hope we have many wonderful action-packed weeks like this one. So,
Well.
in that case...
Hold on.
Oh.
I forgot almost one more thing. The next event. I can reveal you a little bit
Ooh.
about it.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Surprise
all
reveal.
about.
No!
You fucker. Oh,
Oh, we fucking
damn, I
fell
was in
for it,
such
no!
a good... I was in such a good fucking mood.
Oh,
That was a good bit. That was a good bit.
god damn
I
it.
will give him that. I will give him that. That was a good reveal. Alright, in that case, I suppose we will close this out. Thank you again to all who have listened in to this episode. That's a great gif. That's a really good gif. Sorry, I'm gonna close this out. Please include that gif.
Okay.
I love gifs like that where the character never comes back. It's just an infinite gif. I fucking love this. Anywho, I'm gonna close out for real. Oh my god. Alright, thank you all again for attending and listening in to the podcast, as well as just generally being a part of such a great community and what makes it great. I hope to see you all this time next week, whenever this episode goes up, assuming it's on the right day. And once again, thank you, Red Sun, and happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
This has been
Bye bye.
the Unofficial Redsun podcast, and we hope to see you again soon.